Hi, welcome to StoryHive On Location, Kelowna. I'm Robb and we are live in Kelowna with another episode brought to you with support from TELUS STORYHIVE. Today we're sitting with Darion Rae, an amazing hip-hop artist, break dancer, I want to say all-around b-boy and hip-hop culturalist from Kelowna. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, brother. Feeling really good.
Thank you for having me and sitting down and talking with me.
Dude, thanks for inviting me, man.
This will be, I'm really excited because you're the first hip-hop artist that I get to bounce ideas off. And I've got to perform with you, see how you work on stage, and I'm excited. So
yeah, dude.
Let's dive into where you're from, how you got into hip-hop, and what led you onto this journey.
Yeah, dude. It's cool. So I'm pretty much from Kelowna. I was born in Edmonton, but I moved here when I was 4 or 5. I don't even really remember. And so yeah, I'm Kelowna, pretty much a thoroughbred. And hip hop, man. I've always loved hip hop. I remember I heard Eminem when I was like really young, and that was like the biggest thing for me. Was I just loved the rhythm, the style, the swag, like the charisma, all of those things. And so I fell in love with rap first. Like the music thing. And then when I was about 10, I remember my mom came and asked me if I wanted to. She heard about these breakdancing classes at the rec center here in town. And so she was like, is this something you would want to do? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't really know what it was, but she kind of explained it and told me it was like hip hop and you dance to rap music or, that type of genre. And so I started doing that. And that's when I really fell in love with hip-hop and music even more. And I was always, like, as a kid, writing raps. I used to, like, rap in the mirror pretending I was Eminem, like, put on his music, and I would just rap in the mirror like I was on stage since I can remember.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you get into dance first, or did you get into writing and rapping first?
Yeah. So I loved rap first, but I would say I was more into, like, breaking was the first one that I took seriously, where it's like, you practice and you work on the craft. Mm-hmm. Rapping, I would, like, freestyle with my brothers. I have 2 older brothers, and just, like, stupid stuff. And I would rap Eminem's lyrics and stuff like that, but I wasn't, like, at home, like, studying it, like, trying to be an MC, you know what I mean? Breaking was the first thing where I was like, I love this skill and the challenge and the whole culture behind it. So yeah, I would say I got into that first.
Breakdance is a very unique form, and to find classes that are actual, not hip-hop, contemporary hip-hop classes, but to be break classes. We were talking with Brett, who you know and work with, and he was even mentioning that to find places to learn how to break is kind of difficult. So to see that you had courses to get into it, it's really cool, like that, to shape you as a youth and get into it. So did you ever fall into beatboxing as well and graffiti?
So graffiti I dabbled in quite a bit. I never got very good at it. It was definitely like I was the least talented at that one, naturally, to be honest. And then as far as beatboxing, I definitely dabbled. Like I could lay a beat down. So if we were to go cypher at a show, like I could easily hold the beat in the cypher. Like, I'm not really doing like the dubstep kind of like beatboxing and stuff, but very like boom bap. But I can hold my own with the beatboxing. But yeah, graph is just, I was never good at it.
It's a hard style of art to get a hold of.
Yeah.
I still, like, even when I mess with it, I don't understand. Like, you're taking letters and numbers and making this weird element out of it, which I love. But so how long have you been doing hip hop itself? Like, how long have you been recording, rapping, and performing?
Yeah. So, dude, when I was younger, I was very self-conscious, mostly about my passion for rapping. So, so just a quick life story. So I was breaking for like 3 years, from probably 10 to 13, maybe pushing 14. And then I met basketball, and I fell in love like nothing else. So that was all I did. So I stopped breaking. My brother kept breaking, so every now and then, if we were at a party or at his house, I could still do windmills and like I could do the basics and stuff. But I really fell out of love with the breaking. So basketball took over, and then, but I was always rapping. Like I was always rapping. Like if we were at a party, I was the one freestyling like all the time, like in the corner. And so as I got older and into my 20s, I actually started drinking a lot, and kind of like developed a really bad habit around that. But I was rapping every day. Like I would drink by myself. Unfortunately, I can chuckle now because I've been sober over 5 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
It was a challenge.
Yeah. But dude, I would just like put beats on and just rap for hours. I would write. And so that was really when I got into it. And then when I finally got sober, I kind of felt like I had a second shot at my life because I got sober when I was 28. So I drank almost all my 20s away, so to speak. And so I felt like I had this rejuvenated spirit. And that's when I was like, you know what, man? Just, you got to go for everything that you ever wanted to go for. And so I just like went for it. Yeah.
That's awesome. How old are you now?
33.
Okay, so you've been going at it solidly as I want to say not a full career, but as a like choice of this is what you want to do to be an artist and release the pent up energies that we tend to have as artists. And I find that coming from Kelowna, there's two scenes of hip hop artists. You have these OG, almost classic vibe hip hop artists who are based around skill, and then I noticed there's a little pocket that's based around like show and performance, and they're not so much worried about what they're making as long as it's popular. And what I really appreciate about your style is it gravitates to that OG style, and that it has elements of the new style, but it stays true to what hip hop is at its roots. And I think that's what I love about watching you perform, because every time I'm like, man, this is just so good. And that's where I appreciate what you do, and why I wanted to talk and dive into how you write, because every artist has their own writing topics or specific things that they will touch base on and talk about mainly. It becomes what their lesson is. Mm-hmm. As you've grown from your 20s where you drank, mm-hmm. which is exactly what I did, and I did the same thing. I would rap all the time. Yeah. And that's all I did, was be by myself, drink and rap. And, it definitely, when you hit that sobriety point, you realize your music kind of changes, and it goes from being like flashy glam to being like life lessons that you're teaching. Mm-hmm. In your development as an artist, have you noticed that's progressed through that transition from sobriety to being in your early 30s and being an adult, and what you're writing now versus what you wrote then?
Yeah, big time. The progression has been more of just being able to teach from like a place of maybe like more experience and maybe a little more wisdom. But to be honest, man, I was always writing about like real stuff, Even when I was 20, I remember, cause I still have notebooks full. And like whenever I read them, it's, like my first girlfriend who cheated on me. I was writing about that. I was writing about, like my dad I never had. And so I was always sort of doing it for that. I don't think I was ever, you've seen me perform. First of all, actually, by the way, I want to say thank you for saying that, bro. That's something I truly pride myself on as a hip hop artist. Like it's hip hop first. Mm-hmm. And I grew up like in that break scene. The culture was really, really strong with B-boys, especially because it's like, no, like you got to look fresh. You got to, like, there's all these, rules you could say. But when you really get in love with the culture, it's about, expressing yourself. Like, especially as a B-boy, the number one thing is being original, right? Like you get called out if you steal someone's style or their move, right? And so I've heavily been influenced by artists with my rapping, but as I was coming up, I was like, no, I got to share my story. I'm not going to rap about guns, bro. I'm from Kelowna. Like, I'm not shooting anybody. Like, you know what I mean? And so that was like a huge thing for me. It was like that originality piece because it was instilled in me. So anyways, thank you for saying that, because I pride myself like first on being like lyrical. Like, because I that's the skill in my view. Yes, there's like an art to it, and you got to write stories and all this stuff. But I think first the first thing about being like an MC is like you got to be lyrically proficient. That's like, so that's the forefront for me, and then everything kind of falls from there. So anyways, thanks again for that.
No, you made a good point too, where I was trying to describe the two pockets of Kelowna's hip hop scene, and it is rap versus hip hop. The rap scene you see with a lot of these backing tracks with auto-tune.
Yeah.
They're rapping over top of it, and the hip hop is just give me a mic and a beat.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, is it's so raw and rugged, and the art of freestyle is so, I don't want to say it's a dying art, but it is, because a lot of these guys can't do that nowadays. And I think that's where you excel as an artist. You can sit and write all you want and be really good, but to harness your craft and learn what you do best isn't by writing. It's by freestyling and messing up.
Totally.
And I love embracing that ugly rawness of hip hop instead of how that polished, perfected rap style. And it's definitely, you see there's like the two pockets, and the ones who really excel at it are the ones who are saying a message. And I think you're one of those ones that falls into that bracket of excelling and saying a message. And when you're on stage, you see the passion shine through. It's not just somebody film me, I want to perform kind of a thing. You're genuinely trying to connect with the crowd, and I think the crowd connects with you. And that's what you want at the end of the day. And that's all you really want at the end of the day, is to connect with people, especially when you're trying to write music that is inspiring. And I find hip hop is inspiring. It doesn't matter what they're writing about. You know.
Dude, I'm with you, man.
So for you and your growing process, you were mentioning that you've always stayed true to the life lessons. What's been the hardest thing for you to overcome as an artist up to date?
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I want to say for anyone watching though too, he's interviewing me. He's being very humble. This guy can rap. This guy can rap. So don't ever let him fool you. Don't ever it's funny because I kind of, when I first met you, we met at that show. But you had sort of this like metal kind of vibe too. At least that was the energy I was getting. And then Zane had told me a little bit about you. Zane's his cousin. And so I was picturing, like more like metalhead. And then you were running the audio. So I actually didn't even know you were performing. I thought you were just running the audio. And then, so I went up and you came up after me, right?
Yes.
Or I went after you. It doesn't matter.
I can't remember.
One of those two. But it was like we were back to back. And I remember like sitting down and being like, my friends are talking to me, and then you started rapping. I was like, oh shit, like who's this? And then that was like a big moment for me to be like, oh, okay, like this guy is for real. So I just want to make sure that you're getting your love too, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hip hop's always been something, a lot of people don't realize that. Like, I performed hip hop for, I want to say 9 years professionally. From 18 to maybe not 9 years, maybe 6 to 7 years professionally. But I used to tour with like Snack and Mercules when Merc was still performing in pizza shops in Surrey. And now he's one of the biggest artists, right? So hip hop was always something I really loved, and I put everything into. And to come back was kind of a weird concept, because I was like my first performance back. And a lot of people are like, who is this guy and why is he so high up on the bill? And Jacob had known me I've known Jacob's family for years. I had recently met Jacob when we did our interview, but there's something that just like vibe and clicks with me with hip hop versus being a metal vocalist, because that's what I am. I play guitar and do vocals for a metal band locally, but two different energies. Like with the band, I'm focused on being the voice of the band. I can't just like say what I feel. It has to represent them, as where hip hop is I can be authentic. So I could talk about my flaws and like my depression and the fact that I struggle trying to be a good parent, like as growing up without a parent. Like growing up without a dad is definitely a hard thing, especially as a young man, because you're supposed to have that like strict love from a dad. When you don't have it, it's kind of hard to build yourself as that character, but besides being what you wish you had. And I feel like that's a lesson that took me a long time, but hip hop really made me see that again. And when I started writing this last EP, so I appreciate the kind words, and it's definitely been my release and what I can do to make change locally. And I think that's like, we've talked about it before on the show, is as artists, we have this inevitable duty to say things that people don't want to say. Like, it's always been our job, where you have the peace movement of the 60s, you have the hippie movements, and you have all these different movements that really make revolution through the world come from artists. And it doesn't come from politicians, it doesn't come from anything else, but like the creative minds who are making music and see what's wrong and have that voice that can make reason big masses. And I feel like that's kind of where what we do is beautiful, in the sense that that's our gift to the world and what we leave. Maybe 5 people hear it, but those 5 people who really vibe with it is the most important thing at the end of the day for me. And I think that you understand that as well.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy. And sometimes, you know, you can lose sight of the impact, especially if let's say you make a song for you, right? It's about something and it's just therapeutic for you, and then you release it. Like, for example, I have a song, and I have a friend who's, you know, struggling with addiction and stuff, and he's called me multiple times telling me like my music saved him. Like, he was on his way downtown to go, you know, potentially use, and he put on my music and turned around. Like, that type of stuff, like, I don't need to be world famous. Like, that's crazy, man. And it's beautiful. So it's easy to overlook that and just be like, oh, I just made that song. But it's like, no, dude, you're really changing and affecting people who listen. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one thing that's really, this year alone, speaking with like my rap partner, Reese. He's also an actor, and he's just a really unique soul and really humble person. And he really made me realize that fame isn't really important. It's the impact that you make, and like that resonating vibe that goes forever. Because, like, for example, Surreal. Mm-hmm. Surreal has a song called, I can't remember the name. I recently heard it when he performed it live. Perfect Fit. It's a song he wrote about a breakup, or a girlfriend that he was struggling with, and then like a week later after he wrote it, they broke up. But the song, hearing it live, hit me so hard. Like, I'm not going through a breakup. I've been in a great relationship for like almost 4 or 5 years now. And that song hit me so hard just from past things that I listened to the song like 14 times on the way from Penticton to Kelowna after the show, because it resonated with me so much. And I like that connection to somebody else's, like, their core being that they created and put themselves out, and with no like judge me at all expense. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what we do with our music, especially hip hop. You can mask it with rock and all these other genres, but like hip hop, you have to be authentic.
Yeah.
You can't be fake, or otherwise it comes off as rap, where you've got like all this bling and you're like talking like you were saying, like shooting guns and driving gangster cars. Like, that's rap. Hip hop is the most overlooked magic on the planet. That's the easiest way for me to say it. It is such beauty. There's so much beautiful potential hiding within the hip hop culture that I don't think a lot of people see. But you see it taking over now, which is kind of cool. Same with metal. That's what I was saying earlier. I think they're being the voices of generations. And it doesn't have to be like big masses. But for us to make change in the world, start local. To the handful of people who enjoy your music and kind of watch it spread. Up to this point, what's been your favorite or most memorable experience through music?
Yeah, I think I dodged your question there when I gave you props. I just want to make sure we don't lose it, because you asked me something that was important. It was what has been my biggest struggle, right? My biggest struggle for like creating music. Is that
for your music career, or as being a developing artist?
Damn, dude, that's a good question, because like struggle is like, I guess it depends how you define that word. I would say just overall, if there's been any sort of roadblocks and stuff, it would be self-censorship, especially when I'm writing. Just being like all my best songs or just when I got out of the way. Because a lot of people, because you know my music, right? It's fairly lyrical, if what people would maybe call it. But like I barely think when I write. It's really hard to explain, but when I sit down and I'm making music and if I made the beat already and I'm just writing, first of all, a lot of my songs I'll just rap into the mic, like kind of freestyle it. Not the whole song for anyone who's listening, but certain bars, and then I'll record that and keep it, and then I'll play off that. So like a lot of stuff I don't even actually write in terms of like in a sitting. But the stuff that I do write, even the same thing is, man, when I start thinking, that's when I make my worst stuff. Because now I'm like censoring, oh, should I say this? Oh, is that good? Will people like that? Like, that's not how I want to make music. So normally I'll go down and I'll find way cooler flow pockets, way cooler rhymes and multis when I'm doing it that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know like there's like that trendy thing since Jay-Z was saying, oh, I freestyle all my I'm not saying I go up to the mic and freestyle a song. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But yeah, just when you get out of the way, like you said, freestyling is how you find the best flows, the best pockets, the best yeah. So I'd say the biggest challenge was learning how to do that. Now I don't care at all. Like, you know, man, when my friends are around, we're in the car, we're driving anywhere, like we're freestyling. I don't care what I say. I have nothing to prove, which is so yeah. Self-censorship, man, is as an artist, is arguably, for me, was the biggest thing.
You touched on a good point there. It is moderating yourself is the worst thing you can do as an artist. Then again, we also live in a very complicated time where you have to be very careful with what you say, or you'll never be able to get your word out there, which is where I struggle, because there's been a lot of lines that I'm like, yep, that one's not making it, and it's just like, cut. So, but you touched on a very valid point that I think is a reoccurring thing through musicians and artists, is they're not the one writing the words.
Yeah.
There's this spiritual aspect that something takes over you and you're just the vessel that's putting it from concept to paper, essentially, whether you're freestyling or you're writing. Eminem calls it his Rain Man. Mm-hmm. They've all got this. It's like Bob Marley did as well. He called it Jah. Like it was God for him taking over, and what he needed to say was said. And I think the more that I think that as a concept of like what we say is we're meant to say, and we shouldn't censor it because it's coming from the universe and we're the vessel that is supposed to say this message. We're not allowed to censor it. We can rephrase it and reword it, mm-hmm. but that is the message that needs to get through. And I think in a time, especially like right now, there's a lot of craziness coming out, and you see a lot of artists talking about unity, and it's like a reoccurring thing where it's powerful. And I think that it's like we were saying, it's just like you're not, if you start to think about what you're doing in that moment, you kind of like block that transmission.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruins what you're writing versus just letting it out and then going back and like fixing and fine tuning, right? So I think that's a really valid point, because I think if more people allowed that to shine through in any form of life, not just artists, but like doctors and stuff, like I wonder where the world would be, because I feel like there's all these creative little ideas floating around, and they're just being picked up by these different antennas, and we're the antennas. So yeah, I find it cool, and it's a really good point to hear, because I think a lot of artists, especially emerging artists, they're very worried about what they say, how they sound, and if they look stupid. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And you grow.
Also, something you touched on earlier, man, is everyone's trying to be trendy, do what's trending, all of these things, right? And which is like cool, man. If that's your lane, ride it. Mm-hmm. But for me, when I'm pretending to be something, like even my artist name is my real name. I don't even have an alias. Mm-hmm. Like I'm really sharing me with the world, because I know that we're all connected, right? So me isn't just me. There's millions of people who are struggling with the same doubts, and positive things too, right? Excited about the same things, like the same things. So I would rather just do that and just open up the door for anyone who's like, oh, I resonate with this. Instead of being like rapping about stuff that I don't care about, I don't believe, and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to be trendy. I don't need a bunch of Spotify listeners. Like, to be honest, even lately, just as a side note, I've been like uploading my stuff to YouTube, just directly to YouTube, my own channel that I own, that potentially could be monetized at some point. Because I'm playing a different game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care about the fake streams and stuff anymore. Like, I just don't.
I agree. And that's one thing I think a lot of people should focus less on. I'm very guilty of it, being a promoter and a festival owner and like as an artist, because I always worry about if you don't have X amount of monthly followers, big promoters aren't going to book you because they're not willing to take the time to listen to the music. They would rather see that number and book you.
Totally.
And overnight I had 1,000 streams, or like 1,000 monthly listeners come, and I was like, I have no clue where that came from. One song, Spotify took them all away within like a week and a half. And I was like, okay, well, clearly those were bots, and I didn't do anything. Like, that's where Spotify itself is a very finicky thing, and I think what you're doing is the smartest option. Tom Merck got big. I hate to say he's a YouTube rapper because he's not, but realistically, his popularity blew up from YouTube and the covers he was doing.
Totally.
And I think having that full creative control over your, not glass copies anymore, but glass copies, your online identification of which your songs are. Because people don't realize that. If you upload to DistroKid, CD Baby, any of these distribution companies, they give you a code. You don't really own that code. They can take it down anytime they want. And all your streaming numbers, everything's gone. Funny enough, the reason I got back into hip-hop again this year is I looked at my streaming numbers and saw that I had like 2.8 million streams on 3 songs. But they're strictly just because they got popular on like Facebook. I've never seen it. I can't find the songs.
Nice.
But I mean, the numbers, 1.8 million streams on a song from Facebook Reels, $20.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
2.8 million streams that I have comes to about $90. So less than $100 for all of that work, where that really deters a lot of people as artists, right? Like, it's like, oh, well, obviously no one cares about it, or you're not getting paid for it, but at the end of the day, that's not what matters. And that's why I like that you're going to YouTube and doing your own route, because I'll say it, I'll be the first one to say it, I hate trends, especially when it comes to music. And the number one thing I can't stand about online media right now is like the rappers putting a microphone in the middle of nowhere and rapping to it and making content out of that. And I'm like, microphone's not on. The audio is synced up. Like, we can see this as artists, as filmmakers, right? So the majority of people watching scrolling aren't going to realize that it's published. You know what I mean? It's for streams. It's very trendy versus like what I'd like to start doing, and what I think a lot of artists should do is stop rapping to your beats. Just freestyle your stuff. Like a cappella, just to the camera, and let the people hear the genuine words and how you do it. Because I think that would resonate way more than like your track being played over a reel. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's where I struggle. Like, I'm the first one to admit I suck at social media. I'm terrible at the social media game. Like, I have a hard time understanding how the algorithms work on anything but YouTube. And if you understand the YouTube algorithm, you don't need anything else. Honestly, like with their shorts, their video content, and what they can do, you're set there. And I think that, to bring it back, it's a great choice for you to step away from the monthly listeners and the popularity contest that the music industry has become. To touch back on the question, what is the biggest success that you've had to date, which has been the most memorable moment through music that you've had, or break?
Yeah, I mean, I would say putting out my first project. I did it in 2023 or 2024. It was like my first sort of album project, but I made every beat, I mixed it, mastered it, and obviously wrote it.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was like the first time I had ever done something where I was just like, look at this. Like, I did this, and, you know, I created this. And, like, obviously now my mixing skills are way better. Like, everything's better, but it doesn't matter. It was also called First Story, so it was like my first, because it was my first, like, project as an artist, it was like everything from my drinking to how I lost my eye to how I got sober and then where I am now. And I was at school at Cato. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yep.
So I was in the audio program there. And so, yeah, and then just being able to perform after I graduated, they got me to perform at Cato. And that was really cool too, because that was the biggest crowd I ever performed. Like, it was the Kelowna Community Theater and it was packed. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how many they seat, but damn, I was nervous. So it was just kind of like that whole, it's like, damn, 4 years ago I was drinking every day. Now I put out this project and now I'm performing in front of it was crazy. So that.
It's super inspirational.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of a testament to your will and what you want to achieve when you put your mind to it. Because a lot of people won't put themselves through the hardship of sobering up and then putting themselves so openly out there to the world to understand their flaws. Mm-hmm. It's one thing that I love about writing music. It's just being so genuinely honest. Like, my favorite songs, well, not even my favorite songs, the songs that have had people tell me that have changed their life the most are the ones where I'm genuinely honest about my depression. Mm-hmm. And, like,
exactly.
The raw, dirty facts that no one wants to talk about, those seem to be the ones that help people. And I wish there was a word that could describe it other than, like, euphoric. Because it is, like, it's overwhelming. It's a very overwhelming feeling to be told that you've saved somebody's life through music. Or you've helped them be better. Or to even be yourself and push yourself to be the best you, strictly through just wanting to do it. I think that that's where a lot of people are scared. Not just in the music industry, but in life in general, are scared to fail. You know, like, they're afraid to hit rock bottom, and I think we all deserve to hit rock bottom to find how strong we are.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not going to find your strength unless you struggle, or you need to do it. Like, everyone needs that, and I feel like a lot of people have when they're in midlife crisis are the ones who haven't had those like detrimental life experiences until later in life, and then they have a really hard time coping with it. As where if you've dealt with that really young, you end up having addiction really young, and then you become super successful later in life. As where it's like the roles reverse, right? And I find that a lot of my favorite people and most influential inspirations of life have had addiction and have overcome it. Mm-hmm. And I think that I think it's a beautiful thing, honestly. Like, growing up to admit you had addiction and mental illness and struggled with things was like a no-no. We were talking about it earlier, where the project I want to do with male mental health awareness, and, like, I think it's the perfect thing. I know, I think you're a role model in the sense of what people could do, especially being through a ton. You know what I mean? Like, losing your eye and still being like, I'm gonna go hard.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking earlier about it. Like, I can't physically even put myself in the perspective of the psychological aspect of having to go through not being able to see two things to one side, and, like, how that messes with your brain when you're thinking, and, like, how day-to-day life goes.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. You're pretty amazing. You're a really unique dude, and it's really nice to sit down and, like, get to chat with you, because, like, at shows you're always so busy talking with friends and, like, performing, and, like, you don't really get to vibe with other artists on a level where, like, you see their brainwaves sync with yours. Besides music and dance, what kind of hobbies do you have?
Yeah. So basketball is a big one, right? I'm in a basketball league, just like a rec league. It's nothing serious. But that's good. I love basketball. Probably my first real, like, head over heels love, you know what I mean, for something. Like, I was obsessed. So basketball, I do that a lot. I read a lot, as you can probably see. I love reading, and I love getting into the minds of, you know, other people. Hobbies.
a really cool amount of books I didn't actually notice.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I love reading, man. It's
That's a really cool thing to see.
yeah.
Especially nowadays, a lot of people don't like reading. I have a huge book collection too, so I'm like,
Nice,
yes,
dude,
dude,
yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
for it.
We'll talk books after the
Yeah,
after
right.
the-
Like I'm a total geek.
yeah, dude, me too. I run a business, so I run my
Yeah.
own online business. So I'm a coach, I guess you could say, but I coach marketing. I help people grow their business, essentially, make more money online, which is kind of funny because everything we're talking about, right, with the streams and stuff, right, is like most people would say, because if you went and looked at my Spotify, I think I have like 40 monthly listeners, right? And people would be like, oh, obviously the guy who has no listeners is saying listeners don't matter, right? But once again, this is what I tell all my clients when in my program as well, because they're always trying to write content online to go viral, right? And they're making no money because they're just writing content that's trending. It has nothing to do with the business they even do, right? So the same thing goes for the music, right? It's like you're trying to create music to get streams, and then now you're creating music like you hate, you don't like, and it's not you. So it's the same thing in my business. It's just funny that the parallels, because I always teach my clients, you got to write for the people you want to work with, like write for them, because that's what's going to attract them. And then, so all of my clients, you know, they have, like, for example, I don't want to talk too much about money, but like, I was making like $10,000 a month before I had 10,000 followers. And everyone online is like, oh, you got to get X amount of followers before you can make money or have all these things, right? So it's just that counterintuitive, like we're all playing the wrong game. So well, I don't even want to say wrong game. It depends on the game you want to play. So do you want to be that rapper who's like doesn't care about the art and just wants like the clout, and then dude, that's fine. Then do it. Right? But if you're someone like us who's like, no, I genuinely want to help people, I care, like don't play the wrong game. And so even in online business, it's the same thing. Do you want to help people and like do you want to like make money, or do you want a bunch of followers and just to look like you have status? Whichever it is, I'm not even saying one's right or wrong. It's just which one is you, right? And so it's just funny. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Well, you can see the spark in your eye, and I can understand now why you do what you do and why you understand how to work that game really well, because you can see the passion in your eye of teaching people how to make their passion something. And I think that's what being a teacher and a coach is, what
Totally
syncs those two together, and you can see it, the thoughts firing in your head. And it does make a valid point where that's where I suck at social media, because I don't really care to have a big following. The people who follow me love my music, and like, for example, I restarted all my socials for hip hop in January. The only people who follow me are way bigger artists than me.
nice.
And I'm like, yeah, well, that means I'm doing something right. If bigger artists are like, hey, this guy's good, we just want to see more content from him. That's the thing, is just like, I don't want to force myself to write. I wrote that EP to help me heal.
Nice.
And that EP was, there's songs on there I don't want to perform live. I do perform live, and they're just really hard, as where like the message I have now is shifted to, there's no left, there's no right. You know what I mean? Like, we're all unified, and I think that's kind of, I've always talked about that and kind of put it aside for years, and now I'm coming back to it. But to not segue, because I have terrible ADHD, social media is one thing that I really, I don't want to say I suck at it, because like I can do good if I choose.
Dude, you could learn it.
But it's the things that I don't like. I want to make content that's unique, and not just like me rapping to the camera, if that makes sense. Like, I'd like to do mini music videos that are like keep you captivated and watching, versus just like, oh, like scroll. And that's where I've kind of got to teach myself to let go of what I may find, like you said, just like that cheesy trying to find clout. You know what I mean? Like, there's a fine line between an artist and a performer. And I think a performer is what we tend to be, what these people who go out to perform and don't care about their craft. They don't care about what they're saying. They're writing popular songs that are trendy, which is, we need that.
Dude, yeah, absolutely.
There's two different music industries.
It's all part of a whole, right? It's not like one's bad or not. Like, it's actually kind of needed.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of liked how you said that it doesn't matter. It's which road you choose. but not everyone should be going down that trendy one. And that's where a lot of us are failing, is we're like, oh, well, this video my friend made 40,000 views on it.
Yeah.
Like Jacob has videos with 40,000 views.
Totally.
He's got one that's like 100,000 views, but it has to do with a car on fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the videos that go viral are the most random ones.
Exactly.
You never get to choose what they are. So forcing yourself to like make something that has to go viral, it would never go viral.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I just love this whole conversation. I mean, I could talk about this for hours, dude. Because the whole thing is like, so I don't know where you're at, but for me, I run a business. It's doing well. I love making music. Music to me is not, like, I'm not trying to be the next big artist, like rapper. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? At least like at this point in my life. Like I love what I'm doing in my business. I love helping my clients. I love it. And so I'm totally cool with just like making music and, you know, yeah, maybe I could be promoting it more and maybe I could, but to me I never want my music to be something where it's like I have to write today. Or I have a friend of mine who he was working for this company where he's a really good singer. He lives in town here. And he was pumping out, I can't even remember, it was like 20 songs a week. They were getting him to, and he was just like, dude, I hate this. He's like, and like, I never want to be at that point where like I'm having to do something or whatever, right? And so once again, it all comes back to like, what game do you want to play? Also, just start with the end in mind. Like, what do you want? Because you know what? If I was in a point where I'm like, dude, I do want to be a big rapper and I want to be the biggest rapper in BC. Like if that was a goal, then yeah, you know what? I'm probably going to have to do a little more like viral reels. I'm going to have to play the game because it is a game. Mm-hmm. And so like it just, if you don't know what the goal is, then you can't reverse engineer it. So that's the thing is like I always tell my clients, start with the end in mind. Like what do you want? Because like if you don't want that and then you're doing something else, it's not going to be in alignment and you're going to hate what you're doing, right?
So a wicked point. Create your dream and backtrack.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends who make music that way, where they build the whole song with all the elements they want in it, and then the subtractive creation, where they like take elements out and let it build that way. I'm always from like when I'm very guilty of like the starting point, the midpoint, and the end point. And I've always done it in a like business plan sense, where you have like 2-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, because I always saw that if you made it to the 10 years and you were dedicated for that 10 years, you would make it. The people who go viral within 2 years, they don't ever last. You never see them last. And that's something I was always scared of, was like, I would rather last the music I write than be like a one-hit wonder. I'd way rather write song after song after song that I feel is what I want said to the world, versus like your friend who has to pump out 20 songs for a company, because that's, your creativity just drains so quickly.
Yeah. And yeah, he's a phenomenal singer, but once again, like, it just depends what you're trying to do, right? And even, it's a game. Mm-hmm. The sooner you realize that it's a game, you can figure out how you want to play it. Instead of just kind of going in there like, oh, I'm doing this, I don't like doing this, and I'm getting no views. Because imagine like you're trying to copy these things you don't even like, and then you're getting no views even on top of that.
I'm guilty of it.
Right? And then it's like just a double slap in the face.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier today, was that I feel stupid when I'm sitting in front of the camera just rapping to like my recorded version and then syncing it up and putting it out there. Like, yeah, it gets a couple thousand views, but I don't like it. So I don't want to make content like that. I'd much rather do like if I could make a podcast where I could just sit and talk to musicians all day, like that's content I'd like to put out. Mm-hmm. Because like it's that creative juice is flowing between two creative minds. That's like, I'd much rather talk about that than talk about like myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I feel like the one thing that I need to force myself to do is just talk to the camera about the topics that matter, and not so much worry about my music. Because I feel like this is where what I've realized is like playing the game is, people are more inclined to watch your reels if you're talking about something that's true to you, and then they're like, oh, this guy's a musician, but he's talking about genuine facts. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like, as a person whose job is to talk to other people, I'm sitting at a really fine line where like, what do I want to do? Do I want to like put content out that has my music in it because that's how you get the streams? Or do I want to put content out that people are like, I resonate with what this guy has to say, and he writes good music. I'm gravitating more to that last one lately, which is a weird concept for me because
Yeah. But you can do both.
you can, and it's just I need to figure out that
The strategy.
strategy, and that's where like people like you are amazing because like I have all the ideas, but to put them into pieces and like put the puzzle together is where I struggle, and this is where I have my writing partners or like my spouse and my band. They help me keep these ideas locked in because if it was me, nothing would get done.
Yeah.
Like nothing would ever get done.
Yeah.
When you put out that whole album by yourself, I want to touch base on that a little bit before we're done. And self-producing your whole album.
Yeah.
Did you have any struggles when it came to the mixing and mastering and editing aspects with your own music? Because you went to school to Cato to engineer, and they would usually give you a project to work with, right? Like you get to work with a band or an artist.
Yeah, that's like at the end of the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the biggest struggle point through I don't want to say the writing process, but the recording aspect of your album?
Yeah, dude. I would say, okay, so technically, it would be like technical wise of like mixing, it would probably be just getting it to sound, as like quote unquote professional as I could based off my current skill level. So at that point I wasn't like a very skilled mixing producer or mixing engineer. But the beautiful thing was the guy who runs the program, his name is Chris Holmes, brilliant guy, worked on some huge records, like very well established. I could just come to him. So that was the beautiful thing, is I could show him a song and I don't know, man, I thought he was, like I was that kid who was always coming and asking him stuff after class, I guess I was 28, but I was that guy who was like always asking him questions. And I really thought I was kind of annoying him, but at the end of the year, like he sent us all a personal video, and he was telling me how much he like appreciated that, because like some people there just don't even care, right? So luckily I had that. But when it comes to the other stuff, it was trying not to be influenced. Like I stopped listening to all music. I stopped listening to everything because what I noticed is, are you familiar with Isaiah Rashad?
I feel like I am.
Yeah, he was from TDE.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still on their label, but anyways, at that point in my life, I was listening to a lot of his music because he was like recovering from addictions and stuff. So I really just resonated a lot with his music. But the way his music was mixed and produced was very like different. And so I noticed I was like trying to do a lot of that in my music. And so I just had to stop listening to everything and just be like, okay, what do I want to make and what would I listen to? I just want to make music that I would listen to.
When you're mixing, do you use because I self-produced my own, and I know I struggled so hard with trying to get levels. That's the same thing as the industry, and getting your kicks to come out with the right compression, and like I had no idea about compression at all. So like I went through a crash course of EQ and all forms of compression, because I used to just think it was just taking your highs and putting your lows, and I was so dumb when it came to producing. But did you find that when it came to the mixing aspect, there were certain elements, like because you're trained in school, you're going to have knowledge on all aspects, but was there one aspect that really was difficult?
Yeah, so it's what you were just saying, but the opposite. So I was like over EQing and over compressing. Like, dude, my mixes now are 1,000 times better than any. Like, I'm getting really good because I'm mixing a lot. I'm mixing a lot of my friends' music. I don't know if you know Chronic Walter. I've been working a lot with him. So like I've been mixing.
Jesse's awesome.
Yeah.
Known him for years.
Yeah, damn, me too. Kindergarten actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the reason I'm saying that isn't to be like, oh, I'm really good at mixing. It's just my music barely has any EQs. Only on vocals, pretty much. I will, EQ a bit if I have to with the drums or whatever, maybe the pianos or whatever. But for the most part, dude, I found mixing is just like 80% volume and panning. really. So unlearning, all the YouTube videos you watch and all the guys telling you, oh yeah, like boost the
Here,
snare
yeah.
like 4 dB at 1K, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. And yeah, so dude, because I remember Chris would always like look at my mixes and be like, what the hell? Like, why do you have this here? I'm like, oh, like I just saw some guy on YouTube. He said like EQ your snares at 1K, and he's like, no, like it doesn't need it. You can't just, no snare is the same. You can't just. And so Chris really helped me like do that. So that was the hardest part for me. Was just literally like, yeah. I don't know. Do you know much about mixing? Like, do you know who Serban is?
Who?
Serban. I think his last name's like Guinea.
No.
He's mixing like pretty much every top 40 song you hear.
Oh, okay.
He's like the main guy.
He's the guy.
He's like the main guy. And yeah, apparently from what Chris was telling me and what I've been, because I used to watch like Mix with the Masters, and I really went deep. I'm a obsessive person.
Me too.
So I went deep in mixing for like 2 years. But anyways, they're all talking how like minimal his mixing is, like, and that's why it's so good, is because you're not just like pulling things here and doing all these little things. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does, because I definitely the one thing I realized as I was way over boosting things, especially for that, and then realized that it was more, the subtractive was more logical. So why is my mix so muddy? Because I'm boosting everything in the mid sections for the drums so that the toms come out. Like things like that, where I was just like, oh, now knowing what I did, it's like, yeah, that was stupid. Why were you doing that? But you have to make those mistakes. Like I suck at mastering, getting it to that same level I struggle at, but I can get a good mix.
Cool.
It's like I can get a good mix and a good EQ. It's definitely, I find mastering is where I lack, because I don't fully understand the concept of it. Like, yeah, it's boosting your sound, but you're also like, so much to it that it just like, you have to outsource. And this is what I was talking about. Our first interview this season was with 2 producers, and we were talking about a lot of artists nowadays, we think that we can do it ourselves, and by taking the YouTube courses. But
of course.
There are some people who are meant to do this, be producers, and find those people and work with them, because investing in yourself is never going to be a bad thing. It's one thing I was always scared of, was investing in my own music career. Until recently. Because it was like, whoa, what if it doesn't make it anywhere? Well, you invest hours and hours upon things into video games, jobs that you don't like, watching sports. Why not invest into yourself? And
and you're calling it's an investment. That's the key word. And so that's it's not even like a.
As soon as you make that change mentally, right? And I think you've done that as well. When people ask me what I do for work, I say I work in the film and music industry, because I take the fact that I'm a musician very seriously. And when I'm on tour, I'm on work. My spouse knows that when I'm in the studio, that is work. Like, it's not a hobby to me anymore, where it used to be a hobby. And it's like, oh, I write music. Like, no, I'm a musician. This is what I do. And in the last 5 years of me mentally putting myself in that mindset, quite literally live off of it now. And slowly.
Yeah, dude.
Right? And that's the thing.
It's an identity, man. It's an identity thing. Because even in, once again with my clients, like, you have to step into that, oh, I run a business, like I'm a business owner. Most of them are like, oh, it's a side hustle, or they're still caught in this because they're afraid of failing, or whatever the reason is, right? But it's like, once you fully are like, no, this is my identity, I am this, and I'm going to own that and take it serious, that's when the biggest changes happen.
It's true. And I think it's cool that you're an entrepreneur as well, because I think that artists are entrepreneurs, especially nowadays. You have to be. You have to be able to write your own beats, write your own lyrics, produce it, market yourself, find your own merch, because the record label's not doing it. If you want to print CDs, you got to do that yourself. Like, to be an artist nowadays, you have to be a full functioning factory as one person. It's quite mind-boggling, because no other industry is like that. You know what I mean? Everyone has their teams and their pockets, but this is where I encourage, if you have friends who back your dream, find the skills that they have that are good, that can help, and that are willing to help you with your pushers, and you build it as a team. And this is where I love what Mercules has done. The people who have supported him through his whole life and have been there through his struggle to watch him make a success, now he pays them to do the same thing. the end of the day, I wish I could do that. Like
I think that's
that is
huge.
my ultimate goal, is just to travel the world on music with my family and my friends and be able to make it a life. And it's that mental change when I decided that is kind of, I've seen the progress, and I'm big on manifestation.
Yeah.
So I think being an entrepreneur, you kind of have to, whether or not you believe in it or not, manifestation is like a key thing when you're building something that's yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a business owner, what's been, not just as an artist, because that's a very artistic industry as well, right? Marketing.
It is.
So,
Dude, it's huge. It is.
what's been
You're creating.
what's been the biggest struggle for you being an online coach as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that one's probably just going to be getting people to see your vision. Because it's like so easy to have a vision that you see. And it's so easy to articulate it because it's in your mind and you know the vision.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like getting other people to buy into it and see it, right? And what I mean by vision, I don't mean for just my business, right? It's like if you came to me and you're like, hey, Darion, like I'm trying to grow my business and whatever, right? And I'm like, hey, here's how I'm going to help you. This is what we're going to do. It's like, how can I articulate that in a way that's relevant to you and what your desires are and what you actually want for your business, and let you see what we could build, right? And it's not what you think it is. It's not saying, oh, we're going to do X, Y, Z, like all these like technical things, right? It's more like, it's more emotional than that, because we're emotional beings, right?
Mhm.
So you have to be able to get them to buy into it emotionally and then logically like be like, okay, I'll pay for this, right? So that bridge.
Getting yourself to a point where you were making almost triple than what other people do in a month, strictly from online. How was that process? Because this is like, for me, that's super fascinating to hear. How did you get
Yeah.
into that? Like, how did that whole situation come about?
Dude, I mean,
Hard work?
yeah. I mean, action for sure. Like action, you can't beat action. It's a physical world, right?
Mhm.
Action's going to win. But, dude, I had to do a lot of reprogramming. You know, like we said, I grew up without a dad, right? We definitely weren't wealthy. You know, you hear all these things, you know, your mom says, you know, oh, we can't afford that, or money doesn't grow on trees. All these things that you hear as a kid, you don't realize that you take that programming into your adulthood. And so when I started, you know, charging people money online, you know, like, oh, I was charging like $500 or $1,000 for my coaching, which is fine. I didn't have enough social proof and skills yet to be charging more, but that to me was like a huge ask.
Mm-hmm.
And so overcoming the limiting beliefs and the programming, that was like the real thing, because you don't realize what's going on. Anyone can go on YouTube nowadays, especially now, like you could learn how to make 10K a month. You could learn like logistically and logically how to do it. But are you going to start waking up early? Are you going to start, you know, asking people for, like, reaching out to people and seeing if they need help? Are you going to come over all your fears and your doubts? And like, that's the real work. So to get to the, you know, 10K a month or even beyond that there's only so much technical knowledge you need. The rest is literally working on you. And that's kind of the beauty of it, right? So when I made that first 10K a month, I want to sit here and say like I was going crazy, but I wasn't, because mentally and spiritually I had already made it months before.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, every morning I was writing lines like I easily make 10K a month. Every morning I wrote it down 10 times. I easily make 10K a month. And so like I was already living it months before it happened. So when it happened, my friend Nathan, he was there with me the first time I did it. And he saw me because he would come over in the mornings to work out, and I would just be finishing writing my lines. And I never told him what I was doing. And then when I hit the 10K a month, like he was like, dude, this is crazy. And I'm like, dude, I'm grateful and I'm excited, but like, dude, like I have already been in this state for. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, you manifested it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and that's it. I relate a lot to how you grew up. I think that's why I connect with your music and you as a person. Is I grew up with a single mom, and she adopted like 3 other kids, and she raised them. And my dad left when I was like 2 or something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I never met my dad, but to retrain your brain from growing up with, I don't want to say poor either, right? Like there was people way worse than
Of
me. My mom
course.
worked her
And
ass off.
By the way, Mom, if you see this, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that.
Shout out to the moms right now.
I'm not
'cause
saying that.
without them, where would we be? And that's kind of I think growing up the way we did kind of, I don't want to say it never limited us. It gave us the ability to see more versus where I think a lot of my friends who are well off, they kind of see just that line of comfort zone as they never really want to excel because they're like, oh, well, this is how my life was always. So this is how it should be. As we're like growing up without anything. Like I bought myself my first computer, like good computer recently. And like I wake up every day and I turn it on and I edit video on it and I'm like, I accomplished this right now. Man. Like I'm so proud of myself. And like to say I'm proud of myself is it's a huge thing because I'm very hard on myself and I've never been really proud about anything I've done. I've accomplished tons of things in my life, but it's never been like, it's like I'm supposed to do that. Never take a moment and appreciate like what I've accomplished. And I think that the moment where where you're like, I've been living this. It's nothing new to me. That's kind of where I'm at now, where like things are just falling in my lap. Even things that I never necessarily thought would happen, like friendships or like contacts or like big artists reaching out to me for shows and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, what I'm doing is right. I don't need to be so hard on myself about like my social media presence and like I said, or the online followings, and just worry about local. Because at the end of the day, all we can change is local. I try to tell this to my friends who are very political. It's like you can stress about what's going on in the States or Canada on a political global level, but like realistically, you can't make that change unless you start locally. And that's where I'm like, I'm going to use my voice, and the messages and the conversations that I have through the shows are all meant to make a point of that we're capable to achieve anything we want if we really believe in ourselves. And I think you've done that. You know, you've taken yourself from, I don't want to say the bottom, but you've brought yourself to the top. And I think that's a magical thing. And don't ever like discredit yourself. Because like where you are today, think about where you were 5 years ago.
Totally, dude. Yeah, I mean, do my gratitude every morning, man. Because it's beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing, and it's a really inspiring story to hear. If you had any advice for, this is gonna be a 2-part question.
Cool.
And it's always my final one.
All right.
We'll start with music. If you had any advice for aspiring musicians, breakdancers, artists, creatives that are trying to get into it but can't figure out or are scared, where would their first starting steps be?
Yeah. If they're scared, can't get it. Yeah, okay. So, stop thinking so much. Stop thinking so much. Just take action. Realistically, you're going to suck at anything you do, anything new, for at least the first year. Like, you're going to suck. And that's fine, because most people don't make it through that year, and that's why they quit. Because they're embarrassed to look bad or fail in front of people or whatever, right? So just stop thinking. Stop worrying and thinking about what other people are going to think and are you good enough? And no, just stop thinking and then just start taking action. And then you're going to beat everybody surely just by that, because if 100 people started at the same time as you, 80 of them are going to just be overthinking and quit within 6 months. And then that last 6 months is going to be the 20 people who are probably maybe naturally good at it. And then after that year, there'll probably just be a couple of you left anyway. So you don't even have to worry about, you're going to be the best in a year out of your group just surely because you stuck with it. Yeah.
That was a good point. And I think, make your mistakes. Like
make
you
the
said,
mistakes.
like you've got the first year you're going to suck. If I showed you my first songs,
dude, yeah,
bro, you'd be laughing at me right now. Like, honestly, they're so terrible. I'm like, so terrible. And if you were to give, because you're also a coach for entrepreneurs and people who are starting businesses and it's online marketing, correct?
Yep.
For somebody who is to start a business, because it is a very intimidating venture for someone to put themselves in the position where it's all on them, and then to continue with it and be successful. What advice would you give somebody who was starting a business or a potential career of their own?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the advice could be very similar, right? Don't overthink it. Definitely don't overthink. That's the biggest curse of humans is just overthinking. But I would say just start and don't stop. Because, man, let me ask you a question. So how many people do you know who used to rap who stopped?
I can easily tell you 15 right now.
Bro, I know people who started a business last year and then started messaging me on like LinkedIn and were like, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just start and don't stop. You're going to win. Either you're going to get lucky, you're just going to get really good, or you're just going to outlast everyone who quit.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not complicated. I think those two things, man, if you just stop overthinking, you start taking action, get feedback. Because the only way you can get feedback is by taking action, right? You got to put out crappy songs and have people say, hey, this song sucks, I don't like this, or you whatever, to like be like, oh, okay, like what didn't you like, and then make it better. You can't just sit in your head all day and come up with the perfect whatever, right? You need data to, iterate on. And then just don't stop. Like, bro, like where you are right now, like you said, the last 6 years you've been doing this. Now look, you're finally starting to be like, oh, bigger artists are it's because you didn't stop, dude.
Yeah. Well, I stopped the hip hop for a long time. It was more or less at 30, I had a crazy depression where I had almost taken my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I honestly, TELUS, my first grant with them for my documentary came, and that moment was like a huge eye opener for me. And from then, kind of like believing in myself and not worrying about what people think of me.
Yeah.
5 years ago to today is two different people.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
like mind-blowing, two different people, where I have friends who see me now and they're like, I have no clue
Yeah.
who you are. And
Nice.
it's not in a bad way, right? So,
No.
But I've given up many times, and that's one thing I'm very guilty of, and I think your advice is super helpful for me, is because I start things constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Put it aside because I'm like, okay, well, this isn't going to make it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm just not passionate about it enough. And I think that's where I think I had to realize, like, I'm forcing myself to do things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I started a landscaping company with my brother-in-law, and we did a great year. As soon as it came to fall, I was like, we've done it, tried it, wasn't really enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like, the aspect, that lifestyle wasn't what I wanted. And I think that you need to find what you want. And like you said, just go full bore, because we live once.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Totally.
if you fail, who cares?
And you'll learn pretty quick what you don't like,
Mhm.
like really fast.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I just thought like you were still in the music industry for that 6 years. Like I thought you were still like at least.
So I've been with the band for 6 years. I quit doing music for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And during those 10 years, I did built houses and got into concrete, and like I said, jobs that I thought that I should, because, I'm 30, coming up on 30, I got to give up my music career, which was like the biggest detrimental thought I've ever had in my entire life, especially doing this year's show. I've realized that you're never too old to start a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever. I have interviewed people who are 55 and just started their passions, and they're selling artwork massive amounts. And that was one thing that was like, okay, you're never too old. But I took the 10 years off because I was when I was sobering up.
Yeah.
And I needed to, music had taken over everything, and I was sponsored by Caribou at 22. So I was getting flats of beer for free, basically, you know what I mean? So I'd gotten to myself to a point where I was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just I was enjoying the lifestyle, but I big time fell away from the message I had, and fell into that popularity aspect of I'm on the road with Snack and Merc, and I'm partying, and it's that was never what I truly wanted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to be a big artist at that time, but now that I've grown up and come back, my personal goals have changed so much that I'm even touring, I did 3 tours this year, and after the second one, I was just that's not what I want to do. I don't really want to be away from my family or my friends. I'd rather me make music and just put it out there, and if it helps people, it helps. Which was a huge point in my life where I realized that I was just chasing something that I never really wanted. Like you said earlier, stop trying to do something that's not you. Mm-hmm. That I was doing that forever.
Yeah.
So
we've all done it, man.
And I'm thankful, because
Yeah.
if I didn't go through all of those failures for 10 years of my life, the last 5 years would not have been as great as they have.
Yeah.
You know, like becoming a parent and like watching my kids now fall in love with hip hop is the greatest thing ever. My son breakdances to like, I have put Prof on and he's like breakdancing and grooving, and I'm like, you know what? Like,
That's awesome, man.
our goal is to inspire the next generation. It's kind of what I'm doing. And now I'm meeting a ton of new great people coming back in, like yourself and Jacob, and there's so many local artists that are amazing. And like getting to step out of the scene again and come back is kind of really cool to see. And especially the ones who are still here, like Shalina's still here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I grew up performing with her.
Totally.
And the whole Rowdy Barn crew. And it's like Red Casey showed up to my show the other day and I was like, I haven't seen him in 13 years or so. And it was like, we used to beef as rappers, but to be able to see each other and give each other a huge hug after years of like constant tension was like an amazing moment. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, dude.
I think we have like the greatest lives being artists, honestly. A lot of people don't like, they look up to artists because of the fame and fortune aspect that could potentially be, or that some have, but it's like the moments of like backstage chilling with the other guys and chilling and vibing and watching them perform is so much more valuable to me now than making $1 million.
Dude, I'll even say this. I say this all the time, man. Like, when you're at a show or something, or you're, whatever you're doing, I used to do a lot of breakdancing shows. Being in the back and ciphering is easily the best part. I talk about it all the time. Even my breakdancing like friend who's staying with me, right? He's a b-boy.
Oh, sweet.
And like the ciphers are always like way harder than the show or the battles. Like the ciphers are where it's the rawest, like, right? So that's, I agree, man. The backstage, just the realness, man, is where it's at.
That's why I love Wu-Tang, because they're always trying to make the other group members go, oh, with the rap lines. So like, if you could do that with your friends, that is like the funnest moments. And I miss ciphers. I think that's one thing I think I want to do. Maybe set up a cipher where it's like all the freestyle artists come out instead of the battles, because I love battles, but it's just like to have like 10 MCs and a DJ, and the DJ's just tossing you beats, and it's just like back and forth raps is like, nothing can amount to that at all.
Dude, we'll even just get a beatboxer and just straight up just really do it.
Right? It would be wicked.
Get some b-boys out too, man.
Do you have anything coming up in the next couple months?
Like
any shows or?
Actually, no. We were gonna do that show together on the boat, right? And then that got canceled. So since then, I've actually decided to just focus on making new music.
Sweet.
I've been performing the same songs for like the last year. So I'm like, okay, I need to make some new music. So, and it's, holidays coming up too. So yeah, I'm gonna just chill on the shows and just cook. I think that's gonna be the goal for like the next couple months, and then come spring, yeah, see where it goes.
That's about where I'm at. I got a whole EP. I gotta actually start recording now. The boys are finished writing and I'm finished writing, and I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta sit in the studio for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
but
it's time.
that's the thing, is just like, it's so time consuming when you're locking yourself into a project that you know is gonna be a couple months, and you're like, all right, just a couple more days of video games, just a couple more days of holidays. So I really, I'm excited though, because I think writing is why we do it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear what you come out with, because that just means more shows, more music, more performances. It would be really cool to do a big collaboration track with a couple of the MCs, like Jacob, yourself, me. I can't remember his MC name. It's evading my brain right now. Not a big deal.
Do you know his real name?
No. We've only met a handful of times, and he's
Okay.
super talented. I just can't remember. He's one of Jacob's buddies.
Okay.
Super talented dude, and he's like a wicked rapper, but it would be cool to have a track, like a 4 MC track of local hip-hop artists, because I don't see a lot of collaboration tracks happening. I see a lot of solo tracks, and then you got the Hazy Maiden, Stray and Kid, who do all their collaboration tracks with people, but it's like, it'd be cool to see some like tracks, because when we're performing live, we can pull each other up and do those ciphers together, right? Is there any, like, where can people find your music, or if they're interested in joining you as a client for your coaching?
Yeah, just Darion Rae, how it's spelled in the title probably of this video. LinkedIn, stuff like that. I have a school community for my business. And then as far as the music goes, YouTube, or I do have a lot of my music out on streaming platforms as well. And that's where I'm at.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and this conversation has been absolutely
Yeah, bro.
magical. I like to call them the magic moments, where it's like I have epiphanies, and those moments are like the key hard hitting episode moments.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of them in this. So
That's
when I'm
cool.
editing, I'm going to be going back, and because I've rewatched the episode like 4 times, and I'm like, I'm going to have to in
Yeah,
this one, because there's a
yeah.
lot of points that I'm like, yeah, I need to re-listen to that and what you said, because there's a lot of magic in there.
Cool.
So thank
Right.
you again for having me and
Thank
doing
you.
this. It
Thank
was
you, brother.
incredible.
Thank you, man.
And if you guys would like to be a guest on the show, there will be a QR code at the bottom. And if you click that or you scan it, there will be a code or a form that you fill out, and we'll get you on the show. This has been Story Hive on Location Kelowna. I'm Robb O'Day, and we will catch you guys again next time.